Afternoon, and after lunch I usually get sleepy, so please forgive me. Please forgive me if my talk is not very dynamic. Okay, we call this cats medieval, but in fact most of the samples we would like to show you today are from the 15th and 16th centuries. So they are from the very late medieval and very early post-medieval periods. And in this talk, we would like to focus on sulfur and how is it useful. But first, carbon and nitrogen. So this is the paper we published last year, where we tried to track domestic cat ecological types using medieval and early post-medieval cats from northern part of Europe. We had 200 cat specimens from variable localities of variable archaeological contexts, and we tried to define types of cat ecology by comparing cat stable isotopes, carbon, nitrogen, and bone collagen with different proxies like site socioeconomic context, like geomorphology, like distance from the sea, and so on. So you can find details in our paper. Just to briefly summarize it, we find some broad ecological types that we can find in cats, like especially cats from coastal areas are quite different. So we can say that fish in cat diet is very important in cat ecology. We also find like rural types of cats and cats living in wilderness and urban types of cats, which is very specific because urban cats are usually in the very center of the isotopic variability because of the very different types of food that are available for cats living in urban environment. Yeah, so we found out that distance from the sea is one of the most important factor that creates isotopic signal in cat. Socioeconomic context of the site also, especially cats from seaports are different from other cats, but in other types we can also see some subtypes. And geomorphological setting, that is again setting at the coast or at the freshwater reservoirs. And here at the third graph, you can see cats from Poland and other countries around the Baltic Sea, grouped by sites here. And so today we would like to focus on just one case, on cats from Gdańsk, from town of Gdańsk in northern Poland at the coast of the Baltic Sea. So these are the cats shown in red. And Gdańsk is quite unusual because most of cats we had, it was just one specimen from one site, because they're just quite rare finds. And Gdańsk is unusual because from Gdańsk we had more than 20 cats from one locality, from one site. So we can use Gdańsk as an example to try to say something more what's going on inside within one population of cats in one town. So first few words about Gdańsk. Now it's a large city. It was a population of 500,000, and we know that Gdańsk already existed as a settlement, or village, or stronghold in early medieval times. But Gdańsk history really started in 14th century, when it was conquered by knights of the Teutonic Order, and so they organized a town, and the town started to develop and to flourish. And the most important point in the town history was the middle part of the 15th century, when the town rebelled against Teutonic orders. They joined Kingdom of Poland, and as an award they got many huge privileges from Polish king. So the town was like almost independent republic in the Kingdom of Poland. So it was really powerful, and it developed and it flourished. And so it was during 15th, 16th century, and that's the time where our cats come from. Now Gdańsk is a large city at the very coast, so everything you can see at this Google map is now inside Gdańsk. But in this medieval, early post-medieval times, Gdańsk was much smaller. So in fact, it was 3 separate towns, here in yellow, orange, and red. And also in blue, so-called Granary Island, where most of the cities or towns' granaries were located. So it was like 5 kilometers from the sea, but with very good connection through the rivers with the sea. And Gdańsk was strongly connected with sea and with seaport. There are still preserved many so-called water gates in Gdańsk, so the gates that served as a connection between the town and the docks. And there is this largest in Europe port crane in Gdańsk that was used to load and unload ships and boats, and huge mills and many huge granaries from medieval times that were mostly used to store grain. Now they are renovated, transformed into hotels and so on. So still many of them still preserved. Here you can see at this copper plate from 16th century the landscape of Gdańsk at that time. And if we look at the details, so you can see, for example, that the towns were, of course, they had walls around, but you can see that in some places it was just a wooden fences, so not really an obstacle for a cat. So cats were good just, roam around. And we have also some, except of this very urban environment, we have some very rural types of environment and some wilderness around. And there you can see this line of ships like waiting in line. It's not exaggeration, because we know from historical records that on market days something like 400 ships came to Gdańsk. So it was a really important port. And now we have carbon and nitrogen in cat collagen and Gdańsk in red. And what is quite striking here, that well, in this town, quite variable, we can expect many types of food available for cats, and so many types of cat ecologies. But you can see that these Gdańsk cats are quite very uniformed, clustered together, and they are also quite far from other seacoast or port locations around the Baltic Sea, from cats from these locations. So that was the question, why it is like this? Were they maybe also maybe they exploited every type of food available, and they were so the isotopic signal was so uniformed. But usually it's not like this in opportunists. In generalists, usually they have very great isotopic variability, and also why they are so far from other seaport locations. So because we know that in fish that carbon and also nitrogen can be very variable, both in freshwater and marine fish, and can be quite low. So the question is, maybe that's the case of Gdańsk, that people in Gdańsk, they were specialized in fishing some particular fish, especially these ones low in carbon. And also because we know that we can use sulfur that can discriminate between marine and non-marine resources. So we decided to run sulfur. So we took our 20 cats from Gdańsk and ran sulfur for them. We also added some other sites from the region to have context for these cats from Gdańsk. And that's what we got. So here you can see carbon nitrogen again, and cats are here. So these stars are cats from Gdańsk. In blue, we have other coastal locations, cats from other coastal locations. In yellow, other inland towns and castles. And in green are cats from rural areas, but these rural sites are only of early medieval times. So it's not really the same period. They are not really contemporary, but we don't have cats from rural sites at all from this region. And here we have carbon and sulfur, and here we have sulfur and nitrogen. So we can see that with sulfur we have much wider range. So sulfur really helps here. And I would say that the sulfur nitrogen isoscape is probably the most informative one, because we can see the widest range. So let's look at details. So different shades of the stars are these different towns. So first, what we can see that these white stars are quite distant from all other ones, and white stars is so-called Jungstadt or young city, which was which was not port, which was the town of craftsmen. So, so here we can see some explanation for these cats being so distant from what we would expect from cats relying on marine food, which would be somewhere in the upper right corner. And among most of these stars, we can see that most of them are concentrated here, and we can see something like linear arrangement. So I mark these end members of this linear trend. So we can, I think we can interpret it in quite simple way. That here we can see cats, many cats relying on food resources, which one of them is marine fish in this upper right corner, and one of them is non-marine, so it should be rodents, most probably some terrestrial rodents in Gdańsk. And we can see a quite good coincidence with cats from other coastal locations and cats from inland locations. But what is interesting here is the cats who do something different, who do not follow this trend line. So yeah, so these cats are quite interesting, especially maybe these ones here, where we can see the nitrogen is still quite high, but sulfur is very low, so not typical for coastal locations at all. Yeah, and because sulfur is also connected to geological background, so if you look at the geological map of Poland, everything what is yellow here is quaternary sediments. So most of the territory of Poland, but they are also quite variable. We have glacial sediments, fluvioglacial, limnoglacial, and so on. And other not quaternary rocks are only in the southern part of the country. And please look at the Vistula River, which is here, which connects Gdańsk with other parts of Poland. And that's important because we know that Vistula River served it was the most important transport route in the Kingdom of Poland in 14th, but especially in 15th, in 16th and 17th centuries. And it was used to transport mostly grain from different parts of Poland. Along Vistula River, we have these river ports with granaries like this one that were used to collect grain and then to load it on a boat. We know that many noblemen families became very rich because of this trade of grain and exporting grain. And here at this map, you can see the Kingdom of Poland in red from 15th, 16th century. So it's quite different from Poland now, which is more or less here. But you can see Vistula River. And here I mark the most important river ports that served during 15th, 16th century as a trade hub to collect grain and to export grain along the river to Gdańsk. And Gdańsk was the most important place for exporting grain from Poland, from Kingdom of Poland through Baltic Sea to other countries. And Kingdom of Poland was also known as a granary of Europe at that time, which maybe is some exaggeration, but yeah, but we're sure that the grain trade was very important in Gdańsk. So if it's like this, then we thought maybe we should check sulfur in cats from other parts of Poland, because maybe grain from other parts of Poland were important important factor creating the isotopic signal of sulfur in cats in Gdańsk. So we collected other cats that we had from Poland, from different areas, and we measured sulfur in them. And it's quite surprising because, well, there is some regular or expected pattern. So in East Pomerania, where is Gdańsk, and in West Pomerania, we can see high sulfur values because in coastal area, so it's expected. But also in coastal area like in Western Prussia, which is also very close to the coast, we have very low sulfur values. And in some areas that are very distant from the sea, so for example here in southern Poland, in Politura, we have is the second one from the top. We have very high sulfur values. That's because of geological background, because we have Jurassic rocks in Polish Jura. So we have sulfur values similar to the coastal ones. So it means that it's really very complex. And now if we look at this sulfur nitrogen isoscape, we have cats from Gdańsk in blue, from Gdańsk and from other locations in East Pomerania. And here is this linear trend we have seen before. And here are these strange cats, and here other ones. So if we compare them with cats from other parts of Poland, we can see that these cats outside of the trend line are similar to these yellow cats, so the cats from the Polish Jura, from southern Poland. And if we look at these cats very to the left, we can see that they are similar to these green points, which are cats from this area, from Western Prussia. So, yeah. So we think that in Gdańsk we can see another type of cat ecology that we call granary guardian. So it means cat that relies on rodents, that rely on grain, but it is not local, but is imported from somewhere else, sometimes not from a very far distance, like several hundred kilometers from southern Poland, sometimes maybe from area situated nearby, like Western Prussia, like Western Prussia, which is not very far, but has very unusually low sulfur values. So to conclude, I would say that what we can see on this case of Gdańsk is that sulfur is crucial to understand the ecology of cats and probably other carnivores, especially in such complex situations like Gdańsk, like urban environment, which is very variable, and which is also a seaport. Well, we can see several types of ecologies of cats in Gdańsk. If we add sulfur, because without sulfur they are, you can remember, very, very clustered, very uniform, but with sulfur we can really see what's going on with them. And what is also important, like a call for action from our study, is that we really need a sulfur map of Poland, because what I presented you here, this map of only cats are included here, is in fact the first sulfur isotopic map of Poland. Now we have sulfur values also from other animals from Poland, so I think we'll work on this in next month. So maybe I would be able to show you some results next time. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That was super interesting. We have time for one quick question. Yes, please.
Just for curiosity, do you have any chance to get mice or fish bones from the same context as the cats come from?
Yeah, it's not so easy, and not with rodents, not with mice. They were not collected during archaeological studies, but we have some